Hello and welcome to the Amazon Nomad Show, where I'm joined by Gavin Sweeney and Thomas Parkinson. Today we're going to be talking about wholesale, pre-orders for Q4, preparations for that sort of stuff, and whatever else in between. So, Gavin, do you want to kick us off with your
Yes,
topic?
absolutely. So I've been going way more into wholesale. I'm transitioning fully into wholesale now. By January, I expect we will be 100% wholesale, which is going to be super interesting. And really, I've been looking at different CRMs of how I can manage my supplier relationships. So I'm thinking, how can I split these out? Because maybe I want one VA who does nothing but find new wholesalers, and then that goes into a CRM. And then we have one person or myself doing the outreach for that supplier. Then once we have the account, the admin can come along, pick up the inventory sheet, put it into the CRM. And once that's done, we can create a scheduled task where my VAs then start analyzing these lead lists. I've been kind of looking into that. Do you guys have any experience with something like this?
Sorry, I'm just muting myself. I think that the one thing so I interviewed Amazon Lit this week, so if I kind of talk through that. So two things, I know we talked off air, CRM system, Vendrive is the one I know, I haven't really used it, but I do think you could probably just use a free CRM if you really want to just kind of do it quickly. There's so many of them out there, but Gavin, I know you love your CRMs. It's a past history of yours, something to do.
Yeah,
or a Google Sheet, fine.
I want dynamic CRM because I can configure it to be so damn good, but it's so expensive. It's so crazy
it's not
expensive.
Worth it. And also, I'll focus on what's worth making the money. So that's that. Amazon Lit talked about it, whereby open up your account, run it through listing software, for example, scan unlimited, and then trim out. For me, the way we're looking at, the idea is what I thought was quite good actually was, we kind of do it with OA is look at the brands which we want to sell first, and then flick them into highest profit, and then it's just a manual process. That's it. But I would probably and that's going to kind of give you a good idea of does this supplier look pretty good? And then I would probably go back through the list of everything that got removed of those brands that you like to see what was missed by the software. But generally, I think it's a good way to start the list.
So we're saying put our top brands in the software and then
get the list. Run it through Scan Unlimited, for example. Within the results, only take out the brands that you want to sell, which are the key brands, and then just review those that work. Mm-hmm. If you start getting some good deals and you're this wholesaler could be decent, then I would go back through the ones that got removed and manually check them all, because the software is going to miss so much.
Okay.
But if the software kind of what it kicks out of the brands that you quite like are pretty shit, I'd be I wouldn't even bother wasting my time with the other ones, because you might find one, but it's unlikely. You're just looking for generally they get good pricing. And then that would be the process.
Okay, so if generally has bad products, there's no point doing a manual search. It's kind of what we're getting at here.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, Tom. Whenever I've had wholesale lists, you can quickly tell just by checking, say, 10 random ASINs, whether this is a really dud wholesaler and they're trying to take you for a ride, or whether there might be something here, right? If one of those 10 is actually decent, then you're and that's the merit of having a VA that's up for doing it manually, or if you want to do it yourself, which I'd recommend to begin with, because then you start getting a feel for wholesale lists.
Does Scan Unlimited do string searches too?
Possibly. They've been around for a while.
By string searches,
title
do you just mean they're actually going to search the title? All right.
Yeah, title search.
I think they do. It's based on your get catalog.
Yeah, keyword. Perfect.
But I think it's the same thing for us. When we do it with OA, is the fact that we're what we're really just doing now is is just solely this brand. That's it. It's all I'm looking at. And if that brand works on that supplier, and you could, when we talk about OA stores, you could talk about wholesale. If that supplier has good products for that brand, then sure, I would go look at the other brands within that supplier, because generally that supplier will have a good price. But if I start looking at all the brands and all the suppliers, it's your needle in the haystack is just too big. So I'm really trying to focus down so that if I can find this with a supplier, then I will buy.
Yeah, so I do agree with that. We have like key brands that we focus on, and when we're opening accounts, we're asking to have these brands or specific products. And I can kind of like just eyeball a supplier list by looking at the product names and seeing like knowing what price it sells for Amazon and having an idea of what price I need to buy that. But if it's like 20% ROI, 25% ROI, then it's always a question of can I ask if I buy 1,000 units, so if I drop $10,000, $20,000, can I get a 5 or 10% discount? Like, what leeway is there?
And I think that's a really good question. Then, so I think the idea is when you're doing your, like I'd probably say like your first purchase, get that done, and then if that goes well, go back through that list and just just do like the high volume ones, and then come back and be like, right, and just ask the question. Like we do that with OA, whereby we'll just choose a random ASIN that's high volume and go and just choose a random price. Like if we could get this product, what price would we want it? Cool, let's go back to that OA supplier and say, will you give us 300 units at this price, which is incredible? And then we just want to hear what their response is. They might be like, no, we don't do discount, or like, sorry, we can't go that low for that product. And then just because of that response, we start to now understand, like, okay, tell me about like your metrics. Like, how much would we have to spend to get a discount? What can we get? Create that dialogue.
And here's the thing: what we're getting at, like, the wholesaler may not have the exact price you want, but you can work with your wholesaler, so it's a win-win for both. Because if you're buying in bulk from the wholesaler, the operational expense from the wholesaler is a lot less to sell it in bulk than to sell it to multiple clients.
Not only that, just the administration. I literally had someone today who was like, said in my group, does anyone know how to reduce down the administration work in fetching invoices from UK suppliers? I was like, add an VA. That's the only answer, and go deeper, not wider, because it's a nightmare.
Yeah. I'm glad not to do that anymore. Like, invoices on the UK was just always an absolute nightmare.
Even like the VAT issue.
USA just does not have the same problem. Like, maybe if you're in a sales tax state and you're messing with sales tax, but no, we still don't have an issue with it because we use a sales tax certificate for our sales tax prep centers, which then gets all sales tax removed because it's wholesale, right? It's for resale.
Yeah. Seth, thoughts?
Yeah.
My thoughts going back to focus, I was just going to ask a question back at both of you is like wholesale is such a big like ocean of categories and products. Like, how do you decide which wholesaler to approach and which categories to go for?
You don't. Like, it's the same. It's the same question we do in OA. It's I do one category, and I don't even really do categories. We do like, it's like if it's a category, it's one or two brands in that category. And if I kind of like I'll share it with you. But we've developed we did it kind of when we were doing the OA analysis, but it'll work for wholesale. The idea is basically, when you're thinking of you're trying to find niches. So the idea is what we did is I've got it 2 seconds. So the idea is you choose a category and you go to Amazon Keeper Product Finder or Keeper Product Finder and you look at all the brands within that category, the key ones. And then for each brand, you go to Keeper Product Finder, you look at the number of ASINs sub 150 and you look at the number of ASINs sub 50. And then you look at the number of ASINs with Amazon in sub 150. And ideally, you're after something without Amazon selling, so you're never really get shafted. Then number two, for each brand, you're going to go do an IP check. So you're going to look for complaints. You're going to look for people getting IP warnings about it. Like, can you see evidence of it? Because you're like, if I go deep on this brand, I want to be making sure that we're okay. So, and then we do some other stuff on top of that as well. And then the idea is when you're going through wholesalers, you're just doubling down on those. Like, this brand in that category, that is it. I'm not doing anything else because that in itself is is huge. And the idea is all you're trying to do is to find 1, 2, or 3 wholesalers, or like us in OA suppliers, that are selling those products, which we can go really deep on because there's no Amazon, there's no IP complaint. And when we find them, that's great. But also what we'll probably find is when we find those good wholesalers, we'll find some other brands that we're quite interested in, and we'll go, cool. Then OA sellers. And then we'll go, then that will create another opportunity. And what you're really probably trying to do is build teams or trying to build knowledge on that brand, if that makes sense, and those ASINs. And then you might divide, it might be a supplier, for example. And Amazon Lit answered this. I asked them, when you have the same ASIN across multiple suppliers, how does it work? Because they have buyers per supplier or multiple suppliers. And they say basically it generally works where it's the one who has the most recent purchase, they'll own that ASIN.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So let's say, for example, we're buying headphones, Samsung headphones, which aren't working, really annoying. So if we buy it from one supplier and another supplier, so we've got two suppliers that sell it, but you have your buyers who are like your VAs, so Amazon Lit have buyers. Those buyers are like, they can both buy the same product, which causes problems because you're like, what if they buy it and they buy it, or like who owns it, why? Because each buyer gets targets to buy and profit splits. So what they're saying is, and generally you're trying to control like, this product we buy from that supplier, which is under that buyer. Does that make sense? By product, we mean ASIN. So when you have an ASIN, which is the two suppliers, they generally say it gets given to the one who purchased most recently. That's who controls it. Because if something like the pricing's better or something, that's the way they split it.
And that's like a year down the road, I'll be thinking about this kind of stuff, this level of complexity.
I think just focus on brands.
Well, that's what we do. Because I understand the brands that we sell extremely well. Like, I pretty much know what the MSRP prices are. So I can just look at a list and see if they're going to be profitable very quick. And that's why it's quite easy with beauty, because beauty is very standardized. Like, you don't get too much like going away from like the normal sales price of like various items for like concealer or eyebrow pens. Obviously relative to the brand, but it's much more predictable in terms of the sale price for each product.
But yeah, going back to like finding wholesalers, I think when I've listened to a lot of podcasts with talking about wholesalers, usually they're from the US, right? And usually they live there, and they usually say our best wholesalers are the ones that are just 10 miles down the road or 5 miles down the road, and they've been able to drive down there and obviously have a little chat, build a rapport. So what would your advice be to people like us who are either living in another country or from the UK who don't have that advantage?
You go in with money.
Does that work though? 'Cause if you say you've got lots of money, but you're an Amazon seller, often they'll just be turned off straight away. They'll be like phoned down.
No, but if you're like, I have 100 grand, I'm looking for this brand or this specific product. Do you have 20 or 30 grand's worth? Like, it doesn't matter if you're on Amazon site. If you're showing that you can put money down straight away and get a purchase order through, they don't care as much as you think. The reason they don't like Amazon sellers is because they see us as a pain in the ass. They see us as being like very uncommittal. So then how do we go against that? Well, we give them like just clear directions of what we want and that we are committed, right?
Yeah, they just think that Amazon sellers are very unprofessional, right? Because there are so many Amazon sellers who
unprofessional, yeah,
or will happily sell counterfeit items, or who are just crap at business.
Exactly, but then how many Amazon sellers will come in asking to drop 30 grand on just one product?
I'm probably sure more than you think, but those who actually commit and go through with it would be a bit less. Because people might listen to this podcast and go, "Oh, we just fucking call them, pretend we're going to spend 30 grand and see what they say." Like everyone. By the way, everyone will start doing that if they're not already.
Yeah.
But the idea is like, do you have the balls to? Do you have the what's it called? Like, do you have the balls to show it or something? Show me the paper.
Show me.
So then I guess it's a case of like, okay. So for me, in my case, it's like, okay, I do $300,000 of revenue per month or whatever. So I'm a small
that doesn't matter.
Seller.
You've got to be able to prove it.
Of product.
I can come in and say I do $1 million a month in revenue. It doesn't mean I actually do.
I guess so. But it's worked for me so far, though. It's like, okay, let me speak with our people to see if we can find this product for you. So I guess,
but I'm guessing that's because you're buying from them already.
Like, no, we use it as a cold outreach as well. We've used it as a cold outreach too.
I mean, when I've done previously, like in my business before Amazon, we used to do just RFQs. So like I would literally email these like manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors and be like, I want this one product, here's how much I want, and here's the target buy price. Like, I'm not pissing around. I'm not like, can I open an account up? I'm like, if you can buy this, if you can supply this product, please let me know and I'll chase it down and follow it down. And that worked really well because for them it was like 10 seconds to look and it's 30,000, 100,000 in sales. So that was a really good thing. So like you could do that approach very simplistically. And I think coming back to Seth's specific question, I think the question is for you is like, find an ASIN that you really want to sell. And I'd probably say get on fucking Google Maps and just go through everyone in each kind of area, build out that CRM database. Fuck, you can even buy the bloody, I know in the UK people sell the list because of the SIC codes. They're quite easy to find, company's house. But in the US, they must have massive databases. You're just going to work your way through that. But I would go in with the perspective of, hi, can I do a request for quotation for this one product, please? And then you just get on the call and blow it.
I'm thinking, or you could say, because often these wholesalers will show just the brands they're selling, right? But they won't show the products. So you could say, look, I'm interested in X beauty brand. We are looking at these 10 products, right? It doesn't have to just be one. And then you kind of show that you've got a bit more of a like business brain on it, and you could maybe like elaborate that these have been doing well for you and this is how much you want of each. Maybe that will show that you've obviously got even more knowledge than just asking for one. But that does sound pretty sensible. And I'd imagine if I was a wholesaler, I'd be like, oh, this person means business, and that's why it must have been successful for you in the past, because it's the no bullshit approach. You're treating them like a shop rather than someone that needs to be sold to, right?
But I do, like, coming back to your specific question, Seth, I would probably even say, like, we have a unique advantage as people who travel the world in the fact that we can just go hire a car and drive around the city and visit every single wholesaler. And, like, you know, people say, like, it's the wholesaler down the road. Well, ironically, every wholesaler is down the road for us, because we literally get in a car and spend a week driving around, like, Chicago and then Florida and da-da, and, like, you can make a holiday out of it. Fuck, man, you do, like, 1 week holiday, 1 week wholesale. This is your life.
Oh, just get a VA to do it. Just get a VA to do it. Hire a VA who does nothing but find.
Well, your goal, your ultimate goal would be, and I did think about this a long time ago, would be to have a contractor who would just do exactly that. They're like an American and drive around America and pick up the wholesales.
Yeah, if they were good at it, that would be a tremendous
knock on doors, knock on wholesalers,
payroll.
Yeah. They just build a relationship, and you're the investor.
That'd be cool.
To talk about travel.
Oh, and then guys, we can do that, and then if we only want, we can then create a service company shared between the three of us, so that way we can distribute that product up from that wholesaler to each.
That's not really. Yeah.
So instead of opening up 3 accounts, we have 1 account.
Yeah, that's not really a problem. That's easy to deal with.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be fun. It'd be fun to share. Popped into my mind.
Do you want to talk about travel? Where are you, Gavin?
I'm in Bogota.
How is it?
The food here is so damn good. Oh my god, the food is the best.
I thought everyone said Colombian food was a bit bland.
Yeah, what is Colombian food? Like, what's the stereotypical?
So, okay, when I say Colombian food, I'm also about the meat. The meat here is really high quality. The beef is not factory raised, it's all like free range organic, because it's all seasons here for the cows. So you have the cleanest meat ever.
Oh, so is it like Argentina kind of vibe?
Just really clean food. But, I mean, I guess there's not that much seasonings in terms of, like, compared to Mexico. I mean, it's not as fatty either. But I've been going to this shop called Crepes and Waffles every single morning for breakfast, every single day.
Do you order 2 crepes every time?
Colombian.
2 or 3 plates.
Authentic Colombian food, crepes and waffles.
But the thing is, it's really cheap.
How cheap is cheap?
Like, for a salmon roll, it's like $5.
I wouldn't say that's cheap.
It's cheaper. Definitely, smoked salmon is so expensive. Like, it's cheaper to buy it in crepes with all the rest of the stuff than it is to buy it in a supermarket.
You go to Vietnam, mate. That's cheap.
Smoked salmon is very expensive.
That's the same in the UK, though. Get a smoked salmon sandwich, it will cost you like £2.50 from Tesco. But if you get a pack, it'll be like £3, right? It's the same.
It's only £3.
Same salmon.
That's cheap.
Gavin,
Yeah,
you should go to this place called the UK. They have really cheap salmon sandwiches, mate. Love it. And they all speak English.
Nice.
The Queen's English, or King's English now.
Maybe if the weather wasn't so bloody.
How's the weather in Bogota?
I might just consider that.
It's sunny.
The Bogota weather is weird. It's like it rains and it's sunny, then you get sunburnt through the clouds. It's very unpredictable. I think the only bad thing about Bogota is how dangerous it is. Like all the druggings, robbing.
Is it worse than Medellin?
Kidnapping sometimes. Yeah.
Druggings.
Oh, it's worse than Medellin.
Oh my god. So I don't know if it's worse than Medellin, but how about this? Yesterday there was an earthquake, 6.3 on the Richter scale. We were just like, way! And then everyone has to go outside, and Martin literally saw some guy on his phone have his phone stolen during the earthquake. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
The guy's on his phone during, yeah. It's like, holy crap. But no, like, I think Colombia in general is just very dangerous, I think. You have to be very street smart and aware.
Obviously, you're from Birmingham, so you're well street smart.
From Burnley.
Come from the hood. Come from the hood.
What's better, Medellin or Cartagena? Was it Cartagena?
I thought you were going to say what's
Bogota.
Burnley or Bogota.
Bogota. Bogota.
Why
is
is it
good.
better?
I
Because everyone
really
goes to
enjoy it
Medellin,
here.
don't they?
Yeah, because the Medellin has good weather.
The history
The only
as well,
issue with
isn't it?
Bogota is that Bogota has shit
Yeah, but you just
weather.
said that's why you left
It's
the
not good.
UK, Gavin. It's
Yeah,
so
but I'm
good, but
from
it's got
England to
shit
move
weather.
through to a
You
sunset.
Gavin, you can get cheaper salmon sandwiches in the UK with shit weather.
Okay, let me explain. So I guess the weather here is kind of like the summer in England, where no, it's still better than summer in England. Like it's sometimes good, but it's just never great. It's never like Mexico City, right? It's a notch
Mexico City is
down.
beautiful weather all the time. But don't get me wrong, right now it's not that great. It's rained for the last few days, but my God, most of the days are like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah. And in Mexico City, you don't have to worry about getting drugged all the time if you're going on dates. You do here.
You spend $150 going bowling, don't you? That's the problem here.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's so
what Gavin spent
expensive.
on a date, $150 going bowling.
Bowling?
Yeah.
Yeah, bowling, food, and she had like 2 alcohol drinks, and I had 0. I spent $150.
Oh,
He
that's
just
not
got
that
robbed.
much.
Didn't realise it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Seth, that's for one date. What if you go on like 3 dates that week? That's $450.
Well, you got the money for it, Gav,
Minted.
so it's fine.
Principles, Seth. It's like principles. Don't like being scammed.
Yeah. I think that's
Here,
pretty
a
normal.
date cost me $20
Wow.
or less.
I'd say that's
Yeah.
a cheap date in London, $150.
Yeah.
Really?
That's a cheap date.
Seth, you've not introduced us to the salmon sandwiches, mate. Come on, this is what Gavin does.
No, it's true.
$5.
I don't think the meal deal runs past a certain time, so I'd
you
have
wanna
to
get
get
me
them
to
on lunch
London?
dates all the time.
Talk to me about pescado. Talk to me about the salmon. Then I'm there.
Salmon, I love it.
In fact, there is a banging salmon shop in Mexico City that me and Tom go to, and they have these gigantic chocolate brownies too.
It's not a shop, it's a restaurant. It's a really good restaurant. Really, like queues all the time.
What's it called?
I don't know. Do you know what's really funny?
You don't even
So
know
my
the
life-
We're
name.
literally sitting there having salmon right in front of like a fish tank with lobsters in it. And Gavin's completely allergic to lobsters. It's like, like any shellfish he's really allergic to. So it's like,
Yeah. And it's like splashing its water all over my food. I'm like, fuck's sake. I should have just told them, I'm allergic to shellfish. Can I have a different seat?
where's next on the travel plans, people? Where are you going?
I've got nowhere.
Asuncion, back to Mexico, then to Thailand.
You're doing
And
Guadalajara?
Seth is coming
You're doing
Thailand with me.
Guadalajara.
Oh, yeah, I need to do Mexico City, Guadalajara, Playa del Carmen as well. But it depends if I can be bothered, 'cause I prefer just to work, mostly.
We're going to work anyway, right? So why does it matter where you are?
Because when you travel to a new city, a new place, it takes a few days to get your rhythm back.
Playa
Or
del
longer.
Carmen's tiny, though, so there's not much rhythm to get into.
What's tiny?
Playa del Carmen.
Is it?
Yeah. it's
Okay,
like
maybe I won't go there then.
a small town. Not even a small
You should
town.
go. You should go. Go see it.
I thought it was a city. I want to go to Guadalajara though. I was told the women there are really fit.
It gets cold in
Seth.
winter, though, so you don't want to
Does it?
go... Yeah, like
Okay.
you have to wear a jacket if you go in England winter months, I believe. So you want to go like sooner rather than later. I believe.
Where about you,
Okay.
Seth?
Seth, are you coming to Thailand next year?
Yeah, I think I'm going to join Gav somewhere next year. We'll see where.
Let's go! Party
Thailand would be
time!
cool. I've not been to Thailand since 2015. I
Where are
think,
you?
so,
Where are you going? Where are you thinking?
Don't know,
So
Gav,
Bangkok,
where we're
Chiang
going.
Mai, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and a few smaller islands. So during December to like February time, we hit the smaller islands. Maybe we detour for Bangkok for a little bit. Then in March, maybe, or sometime in February, we hit Philippines, see the team. Yeah,
Nice.
it's a good
I'll
plan.
be joining on the February.
All while traveling first class. Let's go. Party time.
Yeah, got a few $100K to spend on points.
At least.
At least, yeah. What about you, Tom? You've not been doing much.
No, I'm
traveling.
I'm going to Hamburg for a wedding next month. So it's just like I fly first class to London and then over to Hamburg. So I'm only there for like 6 days, and then I come back. So it's a really good friend of mine who, like, I joined when I started my kind of like old business own thing. I worked with him. Like, we didn't work in the same business, but same co-working for like 3 years. Well, 3 years, 2 years, I don't know. Really cool guy. So he's getting married. That's good. And then me and the missus.
Wait, is that for October?
No, it's September.
Or
just September, like 15th. The wedding.
Yeah, but it is in September. Oh, I think it's the last weekend.
I'll be back 18th. I can fly back. Then the other one is what's it called? Then we're off to Gavin's place, Medellin, for a week in October, which will be fun. So looking forward to that. And then I probably need to do another trip before the end of the year to the States to go to like the Mexican immigration office to sort visa situations out. That's about it. And then I won't be. I don't think I'll be home for Christmas.
I was thinking of getting Mexican residency permanent. I might just pay for it.
I think I think there's a guy you can do.
I don't want to get to. Is there a benefit to a Mexican passport?
Passports are different to permanent residency.
Yeah, but if you're a permanent resident for 4 or 5 years, then you're eligible for a passport.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you definitely want it, if that makes sense. Like, you'd be careful.
That's what I'm saying.
By the way, like, you can do stuff like, I don't know, like, could be, I don't know.
Does the UK accept dual nationality or dual citizenship?
Yeah, of course. We're
like
shit.
The home of the empire. Colonial Central.
Yeah, we've got to accept that.
That's true.
You could probably have
so
3
I'm sure it'd be beneficial to have multiple passports. It's something that's been on my mind for a while.
But you could even do it with just investment.
Okay.
Like, you can go to, like, Antigua, for example. I think it's like $100,000 investment there. You get a passport.
That's not bad.
It's like, that could be another option, because
buy a little beach shack for $100,000.
I think it's like flag theory. Research about flag theory. That's the kind of the idea behind it.
Flag theory. The perpetual traveller.
Oh, yeah, the nomad capitalist. I've heard about this guy. Apparently, he'll charge you like 25 grand and he'll just send you like an 8-page report about offshore tax. And actually, he's just got information that he's obviously paid a few $1,000s for, and it's just a reseller of expensive information, but he's absolutely killing it because he's got a good brand.
Yeah, I think the one...
Heard all about it on the podcast.
Look at passports.io. It's part of that same guy. But that's a really cool website which kind of helps you understand like how much you need to invest, what they allow, number of things you get, visa-free travel. It's quite cool. I think they're really good websites, and they have quite a few of them.
He's a smart guy, though, isn't he?
Oh like, yeah. So the cheapest way is 100k.
Such a good market to go into because you've got a load of rich digital nomads who have got more money than sense, and they can't be bothered to do the research themselves. So he can just charge.
He did I listened to one of his YouTube videos, and he talked about it. It was like the majority of his customers are 8 and 9 figure like business owners, and like they make the money. They just need to know the right information, and that's what he consults with.
Exactly.
Maybe even like 10 figure like billionaires. But again, it's kind of like getting it right. Like, I know people in some of my circles whereby like they were saying, "Oh, I'm moving from here to like Portugal, and it's going to cost me a couple of million in taxes if I do it." And they were trying to figure out how we can get around it. It's quite interesting. But again, it's just a different world. Like, it's a very different world, and people will pay $100,000 for a consultation to get the exact information because
it's a world, my friends, that we will soon be in. 5 or 10 years, we'll be in that world.
Right, Seth, your travel plans to Thailand?
I've got absolutely nothing in the diary, and don't know what I'm going to be doing about that. So
Thailand.
Thailandia.
Yeah. Let's go.
Few months away.
Thailandia. Muy buen, sir. Let's go. Vamos.
Indeed.
I'm so hungry.
Right. Should we call it a day?
Yeah, go on, Seth. You can wrap up.
Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Let us know if you've got any questions in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.
Next week. Cheers, all. Bye-bye. Have a good one.